It does come to my attention that most people do not know how to date intentionally. And because of it, they end up in situationships or relationships that they don't even want in the first place. And it keeps them from having the dream relationship that they actually want. So, coming from someone who actually has dated intentionally, I want to give some tips and some feedback to people so that you can do it too.
Let's see what his big ideas are.
And these are my credentials for anyone wondering. I met my girlfriend Alina 2.5 years ago. We quickly fell in love. Both of us were dating intentionally, by the way. And we traveled the world, had an amazing time together, and we now live together. All right, so step one, the very first thing you need to do before even talking to anyone is you need to take out a pen and paper. You need to write down your dream partner list. Yes, your dream partner list. Because how are you going to know who you're looking for if you can't even be clear about it? You need to be able to write it down and see it in front of you so that you can understand and feel into it. Does this feel right to me?
Okay. I'm just gonna I was letting him run his mouth for a little bit, but this whole idea about writing who you want, a lot of people recommend that. All right. And I'm not 100% against it necessarily. It's not a bad idea to know what it is that you want from a person, but your first step should not be this wish list of like all these great things you want this person to be. The first step always begins within. If I was a single guy and I wrote a list right now that I could write 1,000 times, I want to date a supermodel, I want to date a supermodel, I want to date a supermodel. It doesn't matter how many times I write it. If it's not something that's going to be accessible to me, well, I'm not going to be able to get that just because I wrote on my little wish list, right? So having an idea of what you want is right, but before you try to figure that out, you have to make sure that you're in the right place in life for that. And internally, you have to be somebody who actually is suitable to date. You have to have enough mental bandwidth. You have to have dealt with your traumas and your issues. Again, you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to kind of understand your shortcomings and understand what are the things that maybe in previous relationships have affected you or have become a problem. And you have to work on those things, because no matter how much you write about all these great things you want in a person, if you are not set up to be with a person like that, even if you do encounter them, even if you're able to identify them, you're not going to be compatible with them. No matter how much you hope and wish for, you're not going to be compatible with you because you're still going to be you. That's what you end up with. A lot of people, a lot of, especially women, like to do this, who have all these impossible standards in men that no man is ever going to add up to, and they just keep comparing them to their list, and then they end up miserable and alone because nobody's going to be measuring up to her little wish list. Let's see what else this guy has to say.
Is this the right person that I want? Okay, I think it is. This feels right. Okay, I want to go in that direction. So what you're going to do is you're going to write down values, qualities, behaviors, and feelings about the dream partner that you really want to have. And I'm telling you, be very specific. I thought I was being very specific when I wrote 40 things on my list. Alina ended up writing 5 pages, and 99% came true. All right, so once you've done that, you're going to move on to step 2, which is to start dating people, obviously. But the part that is different is you need to start dating different people that you otherwise might not normally go for. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't make any sense. I can totally see the concept of what he's trying to say, kind of making some kind of sense, but I could totally also see people just taking that and misinterpreting that. If you're not self-aware and you don't know where you stand, if you're not tethered to reality, the odds are going to be against you.
Because the most important thing is you need to broaden your experience and understand that different people are not bad. You might think they're bad because you have an idea in your head, but once you actually start dating them, you'll quickly realize, oh, maybe I was wrong about this type of person. Or, nope, I was right. I definitely don't want that person. And that's great because now you've narrowed it down. Now, step number 3, when you are on these dates, you need to be very clear and conscious about what you're looking for. Obviously, what we did in step 1 is really going to help you with that. But you need to openly talk about what you're looking for, things that you value, trying to cut out certain types of people that on the first date, you'll just know, okay, you're not for me, next.
Okay. I know he means well, and that might have worked out for him, but he might be the exception and not the rule. If you go on a date and you start just hashing out your laundry list about all these things that you're expecting and the things you're looking for, and that's what you make the date about, one or two things are going to happen, okay? The person's going to be completely put off and think you're just demanding and annoying, or they're going to essentially deceive you and try to mold themselves into whatever you're letting them know you're looking for, still be able to get with you, and eventually it's going to just be like a time bomb that's going to blow up, and it's not going to end well. You cannot treat this like some kind of contract, right? This is not like some kind of job skills interview where you're like, I'm looking for somebody with this, and these qualifications. That is something that you have to, again, if you get to know yourself better and you do the self work first, then you can see that through the person instead of trying to get to check the boxes. You know, hey, are you into this? Yes or no? Okay. Uh, do you meet this requirement that I have? It just makes it weird and transactional. You have to let things unfold. You have to be present rather than just focusing on your list of requirements and whether this person fits your very specific criteria. You have to have certain expectations. You have to have certain idea what you want, but you have to let those things unfold by dating intentionally, by asking the right questions, but not by just like going down your list on this person like this guy's trying to describe. All right.
Because the whole point in this phase is that you were trying to qualify the person. You're actually looking for, is this person right for me? Instead of just getting caught up in the idea of how amazing they might seem.
You can achieve that without going into checkbox mode. You have to really analyze the situation while remaining present and then seeing things for what they are and let things unfold on their own as you go. And again, I'm not talking about months. I'm not talking about certainly not years. All right. I'm talking about within the first few dates, you can just kind of get a feel for the person, kind of know whether it can progress or not. You don't have to, at that point, know if you're going to marry them, but you know if it's going to be able to be continued into something more long term, or if you're not compatible. But again, you don't not want to be so rigid and dissecting right as you meet the person.
All right, there's so much more to this. Let me know in the comments if you want a part two.
Just because you got a girl doesn't mean that you're now in some kind of position to be giving advice, because I feel like when you're trying to give people advice, you have to be very specific and you have to be very cautious with your words. And that's what I try to do when I talk to you, because I know when I was in the receiving end and I was trying to learn about these things and I had no idea about certain things, then you end up just taking things at face value, just like, well, if I do this, this is what's going to happen. Instead, you have to be able to develop that within you and grow as a person, so that then when you approach it and you see it, then you understand it and you recognize it. And you're going to be in a much better place rather than just having to check these boxes. Let me know what you think about this, and make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share, and I will see you on the next one.